Today we're going to talk about 3 different topics to start an effective writing template. We're going to talk about multi-outing GGD's One Kit Wonder with Kontakt 8. We're going to be creating a Frankenkit with 2 One Kit Wonders. And we're going to label our piano roll so that we can more effectively program drums. So we are going to open Logic, and once we open Logic, this screen will pop up. You have software instrument, MIDI, selected, click Kontakt 8, and then multi-output 16 times stereo. Don't worry about anything else being checked off. Everything unchecked is good. A number of tracks being 1 is perfect. And here we go. So Kontakt 8 is going to open up. Now, I'll admit I've had a little bit of a problem where it's been freezing when I click. But today it feels like working like a charm. I love it. So you're going to click this little play button, and then you're going to click Kontakt Player. We wanted to go to classic view. It just is more effective for me. We also get a couple of additional things that we're going to be using in just a minute. So I have 2 One Kit Wonders here. Like I said, I have nu metal and I have aggressive rock. I'm going to click Instrument and then One Kit Wonder nu metal, and I'm just going to click and drag it over. Perfect. Now I'm going to scroll down. We have a little bit of space here, and then we are going to click Instrument on aggressive rock, and we're going to click and drag over. Success once again. Absolutely incredible. So you're doing great. Now what we want to do is a couple of things. Thing 1, we want to make sure that our stereo is multi-out because that's what we're going to be doing. And because we have 2 kits, we want to make sure that both have it. The other thing that we want to make sure we're doing is we want to make sure that everything is being outputted in the same place. If you don't do this step, Kontakt is only going to use the top kit. The bottom kit won't have any level going into Logic. Awesome, I know. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the I, and we want our MIDI channel port A1. Now you're going to notice when I go down to the aggressive rock, it is going to be port A2. We want it to go to port A1 as well. Now everything is being ported in the exact same place. It's probably worth doing something right now before we start anything, and it's make sure that you have sound. We do. So we are still good to go. Perfect. Okay, so everything is there. Everything is good. Now, what we want to do is we want to start doing a little bit of labeling to get the process started. So the way that we're going to do that, for now, we can get rid of our piano roll, and we're going to bring up our outputs. One thing that's really nice about Kontakt 8 is it comes by default with a bunch of outputs, which is absolutely delightful. In Kontakt 7, you'll need to hit outputs, and you'll need to create your amount of outputs. If you do that in Kontakt 8, it will create stereo outputs. Awesome. I have found, however, that it will also then not output, which is not super effective for making music. So when we are outputting, we want to use our mixer as our primary setup. That is what will be what we use down here with our outputs. If you only have 1 kit, follow this, but not yet, stick with me. If you are doing a Frankenkit, you want to make sure that you are getting an idea of what pieces you want to use. I want to have a big kit. I love the snare here. I don't necessarily need this snare, but I think I'm going to layer it. I don't want to layer the kicks, but I do like that kick as well, so I'll probably just use both. And what I've also found is these toms are very high, but then this tom is a medium, low, and then this is even lower. So I'll have a 5 tom array, and these will be tom 3 and tom 5. It'll all make sense in a second. With one kit wonders, you do not want to start your kick on output 1. Your effects are all going through there, your reverbs, your overheads, your rooms. So you want to make sure that you name 1 effects. You won't really need to worry about it too much, but that's one thing worth noting. Then you start kind of going down the list of things that you want to keep. So I know that my nu metal is going to be my main kit. So I'm going to start here. I do, however, want to make sure that I keep a couple of things open for aggressive rock. One thing that I do suggest is have a note of your pieces as you're going through. Just makes it a little easier. So let's get typing. So I'm going to type in new kick, AR kick, snare, side snare, and this is our toms now. So tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, 4, 5. Now, one thing that you may have noticed is that the aggressive rock, we're on aggressive, or no, the nu metal, sorry. The nu metal has an overhead and a room. The aggressive rock has an overhead, mono, and room. I want to keep those. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up having the overheads go into one channel. The mono will be its own channel. And then the rooms will all be one channel as well. So, perfect. We have everything set up the way that we want it set up. Delightful. But you're going to notice when you click on Mixer and you start going into your routing by clicking this down arrow, nothing is labeled yet. This is where you're going to need to refresh Kontakt. And to do that, you click their save button. Now, you'd assume that it was an S or a floppy disk because everybody knows what a floppy disk is. Nope, it's not. It is very intuitively an exclamation point because exclamation point means save. And because it doesn't like back rubs, it likes full massages, don't just click it once. Really get into it. Have your fun. You're going to want to do it a few times. And this is what you'll get as well. Perfect. Now that we're good, now you'll notice that everything is labeled. A suggestion for our Frankenkit friends is make sure you have a really good understanding of what kit you're on. It's really easy to sort of lose track. You could, if you have a smaller screen, go down to zoom, make it 50%, and then it would be a little bit smaller so you could see a bit more too. Just a little fun fact. Okay, so we want our kick because we are on nu metal. We want our kick to go to new, and then we start kind of going down our list of our outputs. Now, because I had talked about the toms being in a bit of an array, my tom 3 is actually going to be tom 4. And then our overheads and our room. Okay, so now if I look at this, it is all routed properly. You can tell because you see the little asterisk there. Now I'm going to go down to aggressive rock, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So aggressive rock kick. I'm going to layer the snare, and then my tom 1 is actually tom 3, and my tom 2 is actually tom 5. Overhead goes there, mono, and then room. So now I should be able to click tom 2 on aggressive rock, and it's showing up in tom 5, The snare's there. The tom is there. And then same thing here. Perfect. Everything's looking good. Everything's feeling good. We are good. Perfect. So now it is time to start to get to actually routing things out into Logic. The way that we're going to do that is, for the time being, we are going to keep this up, but move it off to the side. Okay? And then what we can do is we can click Instrument and then X in Logic. And now we want to effectively do this minus effects in Logic. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different outputs. And I just want to mirror that. Now that that's been done, all I need to do is name them. And because I've got my setup there, I can name it either new kick, or in this particular case, I'm going to name it left kick and right kick. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because a bit of an extracurricular of this template is going to be one that I share with a couple of people that I'm putting some music together with, and we want to be able to share MIDI. I'll get to that in just a minute, but what I'm effectively doing is I'm creating a left and right kick channel just because my template will also have left and right kick because their kits have that. Again, extracurricular, we'll get there in a second, but we won't spend too much time on it. So now that everything has been labeled, now we just take a quick second and we make sure that we're getting our levels. Perfect. One thing that you may notice is when you go to Mixer, sometimes some of these are a little bit lower, especially because I'm layering snare. Because this snare is maybe a little bit lower than the other one, I may find that or it's actually a tad higher. I want to make sure that I have a little bit less of it, just so that it's not overdriving too much. It'll just give a little bit more of that sizzle. All right, so we have our multi-out effectively completed. Congratulations, you have done so well. Now is time to start getting a little bit typey. We are going to start getting our assigned notes so that we can start programming the drums that we have just multi-outed. To do that, we're going to go into settings. Now, this is where I have some suggestions that we'll work through. But ultimately, at the end of the day, your preference is what works best for you. Some people really like, I clicked this little button down here, by the way, to bring up the piano roll. Some people really like things a bit more spread out. For some people, it really doesn't matter if they're using e-kits. In my particular case, I don't like this sort of setup. I tend to like everything starting at C8 because my keyboard that I have starts at C8 and then going up. So I'll start my kick all the way down here, and then I'll effectively move all the way up with all of my pieces. What you're going to want to do is you are going to want to start with, and I'm on nu metal, you're going to want to remember all of the pieces that you wanted. So I know that I have the toms, I know that I have the snares, and I know that I have all of the hats and all of that. I want all of that stuff. So ultimately, I'm going to want everything from this kit. Because I don't want this setup, I'm going to start with clear map, which will get rid of all of the notes. And then from there, we can start going down the list. what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at C8. You're going to click this little down arrow, scroll all the way to the bottom, and then click C8. And then you just kind of keep going down. So with C8, we go to B7, and away we go. All right, perfect. So now that everything has been put in for my new metal kit, it's probably worth taking the time and exporting that map. If you export the map or save the map, whichever works for you, then you never need to really worry about that again. Now, we're also going to be saving this as a template, so it's kind of a redundancy, but I'm a big fan of redundancies, so my suggestion is either export or save your map just so that has been done. For our Frankenkit users, I'm now going to go down to my aggressive rock kit, and I'm going to do the same thing. However, the difference is I am going to be moving things around a tad. You'll see I jumped around from Tom 1 to Tom 2 to Tom 3 because Tom 3, remember, is my Tom 4, and then my Toms in aggressive rock are Tom 3 and Tom 5. So you're going to see that as we go through. My suggestion is have a numbers document up to sort of figure out where your notes are going. As I mentioned too, I am doing a template that allows myself, my friend Eric, and my friend Kevin to be able to share a template together. And as you can tell, we all have different kits. Eric is using Odahome, Kevin is using a one kit wonder metal, and then I am doing what you're seeing here. So we effectively have different pieces, completely different kits. But because we have aligned with everything here, we are able to share MIDI and be able to still hear what each other are programming. So what you want to do is you want to create a visualizer for you to be able to know where is your Tom 3 going and where is your Tom 5 going if Tom 1, 2, and 4 are on one kit and 3 and 5 are on another. I hope that makes sense. I like visualizers, so I took the time to just do this. It definitely helped out a lot, so I would definitely suggest it. Okay, so now everything has been put in. As you'll notice, the majority of my cymbals are not being used in the aggressive rock. That is because they are being used over here. There are a couple that I'm using splash in Chinas. The Odahome kit has a left and right splash, a left and right China. So to not feel too left out, I'm using the splash in the China from another kit to effectively be a left or a right splash in China. But one thing that I would suggest is not layering things like hats or crashes. All right, so now that everything has been assigned, everything has been routed, now it's time to get into Logic and start doing the real stuff here. So we're going to get out of Kontakt altogether. Before we do that, though, let's hit save. All right. Kontakt is happy. Or it's not. All right, so what I'm going to do is this instrument 1, I'm going to name it effects. Don't name it drums. You are going to want to name it drums. You don't want to name it that because I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but your MIDI is not going to go on to this track. So that you're not confusing yourself, don't label that drums. Don't worry, you'll have one. We'll get there in a second. So now that we have everything multi-outed, we're going to hit X to get that out of the way, and we're going to hit Command 0. Command 0 is going to bring up this here. I know, it looks wonderful. What you're going to want to do is you are going to want to click New, and then Mapped Instrument. For now, ignore this. We don't care about that. But we do care about this. Now, it might have popped up over here. It does sometimes do that. Scroll around. That's also why I made my screen a little bit bigger. It's also why doing this on a brand new session is really nice, because as you create more channels, this just starts getting pretty overwhelming, especially if you start creating buses and all of that sort of stuff. Anyway, you want to make sure that your mapped instrument is right underneath your effects channel. And then we're going to name that drummer or drum. I'll name it drums. I've also seen that if you are working with a drummer, if you're doing multiple projects, this is something you're going to be doing a little bit often, you can name it the name of the drummer. That's kind of adorable. I like that too. Listen, let's make sure whoever your drummer is feels loved, because they are. Okay, so now that that has been done, get this. This is going to be hilarious for you if you've never seen this before. You're going to click this little black triangle, and it's going to become a little input jack. Look at that. It's adorable. I know. Don't say it too loud, though. It's going to get self-conscious. So you want to put it over the effects channel that has Kontakt, and you want to let go. I have no idea why it says this. It seems very confusing. Just hit don't remove, please, and thank you. Cool. So that has been done. Everything is being routed. Now what you're able to do is you are able to take this, click and drag and put it underneath and create new track environment objects. And now you have your drum track. Cool. Amazing. We're in such a good place. We're almost there too. Thanks for sticking with me. All right, so we're going to go back to Command 0. And now what we're going to do is we are going to name our piano roll. So we're going to double click our drums, not on the output thing, but on the actual drum kit itself. And then we're going to make this thing a bit bigger. Now you're going to notice it already has some names, but obviously that doesn't work because we're starting all the way up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the actual piano key and drag all the way down. All the way down. Perfect. Now that we've done that, we're going to click Initialize and Names as Notes. And now everything has been taken care of. Now this is where I highly suggest bringing back our good old list that we have here. I'll move this over to the side. And this is where you are going to start actually naming your kit pieces. Now, if you are doing exactly what I had said in collaborating, this is where it's going to be really important that you have things named so that, for example, if Eric was to use a stack, I don't have a stack. So because I don't have a stack, it's not going to have any sound when he sends me some MIDI files. But that's okay because I can just move it to something else that I feel like moving it to. So being consistent is really important, and having something like this up will really help to make everything a tad easier. So we know we're starting on C8, so I would click on C8 and we are going to just start going to work. All right, we are basically done. So now everything is labeled, and if you click on the side, it should make noise. The noise should correlate to whatever the articulation that you labeled is. If it does, amazing. If it doesn't, you might need to go back into Kontakt and just verify that your notes are correlating properly. Now, you should be able to get out of here. And yes, everything's going to look maybe a little different. Instead of putting all of those pieces in, I just did a little bit of lazy work and opened up a template that I already had. Sorry. Now we should be able to put a MIDI track down and see all of our pieces. Disclaimer, do not put your MIDI in effects. Your pieces and your articulations will not be there. Okay, so now I should be able to create a MIDI region, E, and from here, I scroll all the way to the top, and there are all of my pieces, and I then should be able to hear everything. Perfect. Now you'll notice something like stack is not working, exactly like I said earlier. And that's simply because I don't have that piece. But because this is going to be a shared writing template across multiple kits, it will be able to be used. And if I see that articulation, I can just move it to something that I know works. All right. And now you have an effective start to your writing template. I know we went through a lot. I really hope that that was a help for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to put that in the comments below. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.